And we are back on Sportsman Radio. I'm your host, Chris Shanafelt, and I am now joined by NFL wide receiver and cornerback, Rasheed Davis. Rasheed, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How you doing? Cornerback is I guess, a loose term, I guess.
Yeah, man, I'm good. I want to start this interview off by talking about your career in the Arena Football League as you played for the San Jose SaberCats from 2002 to 2005. And I got to say, you played great there, man. You played both wide receiver and cornerback. And in 2005, you caught 100 passes for 1,420 yards and 30 touchdowns. And, of course, you also scored 8 rushing touchdowns. You're named the team's most valuable player. Rasheed, I know you go into games and you always try to do your best, but did you honestly think you would see yourself having this much success being a 5'9" wide receiver and cornerback?
Yeah, I was always confident in my ability. You forgot 6 kick return touchdowns, too.
There you go.
I have to remind you of that. But no, I was always confident in my abilities. I just had to stay focused and let God's work happen.
All right, Rasheed, when your time was all said and done in the Arena League, you won 2 Arena Bowls, and then you decided to go to the NFL, and it almost looked like you would actually stay in your home state of California due to the San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders showing a lot of interest in you. But then the Chicago Bears made an offer, and you ended up signing with the Bears. I got to ask you, what was the biggest transition you had to make from the AFL to the NFL?
In that first year, I was playing defense on a large field. My first year I played corner here in Chicago, and it was a little difficult because I was way behind when it came to terminology and all of that other stuff. I couldn't just go out and play like I had been used to. I had to do a lot of thinking and learn a lot of different techniques that I hadn't learned or known before because I was always an offensive player. Playing defense in the arena is totally different than playing football in the arena, period, is totally different than what the NFL is like. So that was probably the biggest transition that year.
All right, now when you signed that contract with the Bears, they brought you in as cornerback, but eventually you changed to a wide receiver. Did you expect playing both positions like you did in the AFL, but not now you were playing it in the NFL?
Definitely. I kind of joke with the coaches that now I played cornerback long enough to show them that I was supposed to play receiver in this league. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to play corner, given the fact that I was so far behind with everything else, and I was just basically having to think too much on the defensive side of the ball. So it was good once we got into the season, and once I had to start doing some scout team stuff. I was able to show them that I was a better receiver, much better receiver than I ever was a corner.
All right, in the 2006 NFL season, your team, the Chicago Bears, finished the season with a winning record of 13-3. You guys went into the playoffs, and your first game was against the Seattle Seahawks, who gave you guys a battle as you guys went into overtime, and Robbie Gould knocked down a 49-yard field goal for the win. Then 1 week later, you guys took on the New Orleans Saints in the NFC Championship game, and you guys won that game 39-14. What was the 2006 Chicago Bears team like when you guys won that game against New Orleans and knew you guys would be headed to Miami to play in the Super Bowl?
We were extremely confident, all year long. Our defense was unbelievable. We were confident. We knew what, no matter what, and the score was, and no matter how much time was left on the clock, we had an opportunity to win a game. We were going to go out and play like that every time. And we're just a hard-working team, and that's what we did. We went out and stayed in every game, and we were blessed to come out on top majority of those games. And the one game, though, that always sticks out to me, which is a crazy game, is because it was the Arizona game, the Denny Green blow up, where the Bears are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
You know, game because offensively we couldn't do anything. You know, they were all over us, all over everything that we did. But our defense and our special teams they were just unbelievable. You know, so we wound up winning that game, not having scored, I don't think, a single point on offense.
All right, and I gotta say, what was the week like getting ready for the Super Bowl?
It was unbelievable. It was fun. It was exciting. I wish I had been able to really enjoy the week where, you know, the fans and I wish we as players would be able to enjoy it much, but we don't understand that you enjoy the festivity when you're getting ready to play in it. You don't just like everyone else. So that was that's my one disappointment from the game. You know, maybe disappointment is that we lost. But other than that, it was great, man. The whole week was unbelievable. Meet today was crazy. A lot of fun. Really an exciting time.
For the people who don't remember, the first play of the Super Bowl was an incredible 92-yard kick return touchdown by Devin Hester. Rashid, were you on the field during that time?
No, I was on the sideline waiting to get on the field, you know.
All right, then
I was on the sideline watching.
How was it to watch that special teams play unfold?
Unbelievable. We knew we were going to score. We had an opportunity. We knew that they kicked it to Devin that we were going to score at some point because the special teams hadn't done well all year long. You know, it was especially in the playoffs. So we knew that we had a tremendous advantage in that point, in that respect. But for him to take the opening kickoff to the house was an amazing thing. The only thing that it brought up in my head, though, that's kind of difficult to think about now is the fact that I watched the national championship for the first time, like, in a few years that year when Ohio State and Ted Ginn took his first kick to the house, and the first thing that popped in my head was, oh, shit. You know, excuse my language, sorry about that. But, you know, I hope that it doesn't end up like that. Unfortunately, we lost that game just like Ohio State did.
Yeah, you mentioned you guys lost the game against the Colts 29-17. I got to ask you, what was the Bears' locker room like after that game?
It was, you know, it was sad. It was difficult to handle. I mean, obviously, we're adults and we've lost games before, so we handled it well. But for me, it was more, I guess, a somber deal because I'm kind of a thinker sometimes. All I could do was think about how hard it was to get there. You know, everything that it took, and all of the hard work and dedication we put in, and the balls that had to bounce our way, the calls that we had to get to that point, and how no one would really know how hard it was. Like our fans and no one other than us would really know how hard it was to get there. And, you know, I knew at that point it would be forgotten. You know, people would forget that we were in the Super Bowl, that we came in second that year.
Rashid, let's fast forward to the 2009 NFL season. You're still with the Chicago Bears, and you're battling for a spot on the 53-man roster. You only had 3 receptions in that whole entire preseason, but with your great special teams play, you beat out Brandon Riddell and made the 53-man roster. Now, during that whole 2009 season, you only recorded 5 receptions and spent a lot of time on special teams. What was it like to not have much impact on offense just a year after you had a career-high 35 receptions in one NFL season?
You know, that year was kind of difficult, but it is what it is in this league. You know, sometimes you get typecast into a certain role, and I was known as a really good special teams player. It was difficult to handle, but I mean, they were paying as long as they were, signing my checks, and I was able to pay my bills. It is what it is. I can only focus on what I can control, and for me, that's all I could control was how I played and how I handled the situation, and that's what I did.
All right, and you finished the 2010 NFL season with 9 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. And then last season,
that was like one game.
And then last season, the Chicago Bears let you go, and then they acquired Sam Hurd. Were you surprised by that move?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I know that I was supposed to be back here in Chicago, according to the talks that I had with different people or whatever, but things didn't work out that way. I had a couple offers on the table with a couple other teams, and Chicago wasn't quite moving fast enough for me to make that decision to wait on them, and I just couldn't turn down a job while waiting on a team. So I had to make a decision to go somewhere else, and I went to Detroit.
Yep, you signed with the Detroit Lions at the end of July. You guys finished that season 10-6 and made the first playoff appearance for the Detroit Lions in, I gotta believe, over a decade. What was it like to play for the Detroit Lions, who are a team that you called a rival for years while playing with the Chicago Bears?
You know what? It was fun. They welcomed me, easily. I had a lot of fun. The receiving corps over there is great guys. The receiver coach is a good guy and is a great coach. So they made my transition to Detroit very easy. It was difficult to come back here and play against the Bears, especially given the fact that they beat the tar out of us. So that was difficult to handle, but other than that, playing in Detroit was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. I had fun playing the game, not dealing with much politics. And so it was an exciting year, especially to be part of changing a culture in Detroit, and hopefully those guys can continue to keep that going, because the city of Detroit deserves it. So it was exciting to be able to do that.
After one season with the Lions, you were a free agent, and a little over a month ago, you signed a contract with the Chicago Bears again due to the retirement of wide receiver Devin Thomas. What was your reaction when you got the phone call letting you know that the Bears wanted you back on the team?
It was exciting, but short-lived, I guess. But it was exciting. I was happy. I did not expect a phone call from them. I had no inkling that they would even, be calling me at that point, especially seeing what they had on the roster and everything like that. But it was good to get a phone call from Chicago, be back in the locker room with some of my friends, and to at least be in the training camp for the time that I was. Unfortunately, I pulled my hamstring, and when you're on the bubble, it's you can't get hurt. So I unfortunately got hurt, and the story is what it is.
And how do you feel training camp and preseason went for you, Rasheed?
I believe I did what I was asked to do. Especially knowing that I would only be really coming in to play special teams. I wouldn't be coming in to play much offense, except for maybe an emergency situation or if a few people got hurt. I know I'm fully capable of doing that, and I've proven that over my career. But I feel I played well. I graded out well in the games that I did play in the 2 games I played in. So, I feel I did well.
All right, and did any players stick out more than others?
What do you mean?
Like in training camp, preseason, did some of the players just surprise you by the way they played?
The only player, I guess, because I had no knowledge of who he was, is the rookie Alshon Jeffries. Everyone else I know, and I've seen play over the years, and have either admired their skill set or at least thought, they were pretty good players. But Alshon Jeffrey was the one, I guess, who stuck out the most to me because he's a young, hardworking, humble. He's a humble individual, and he's really good. I expected him. I didn't expect him to be as fast as he is, and he's a lot faster than I expected. He has great hands. He's a player.
All right, Rasheed, one last question, then I would like to talk to you about your charity called the Rasheed Davis Charities. And that question is, what wide receiver combo do you see having more success this season? Your former teammates in Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson, or Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall?
That's difficult, That is difficult. I will go with Calvin Johnson and Stafford, not because of any ability issues or anything like that. I would just go with them because they're more, I guess, recently familiar with each other, and the Bears have a much better running game than the Detroit Lions have. So I would go with him, with Stafford and Calvin.
I can't argue that. Now, me being a Bears fan, I'm gonna have to say Cutler and Brandon Marshall. They showed a lot of good things in that Week 1 game, also against the Colts. Rasheed, tell us about your foundation.
Well, I'm
sorry.
a Bears fan as well, so I just have to be. I guess I got to be a little bit more realistic and look at it from that standpoint. But they both of them, both duos are going to be really good. Another thing that I guess Jay and Marshall kind of have against them is that they're in an outdoor environment, which can be harsh at times. And Detroit plays most of their games indoors. No elements to have to deal with or anything like that. So you got to kind of factor in all of that stuff as well.
All right, well, we should see. We shall see at the end of the season who will have the better year, Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson, or Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall. Rasheed Davis, can you please tell us about your foundation, the Rasheed Davis Charities?
Okay, Rasheed Davis Charities was founded by my wife and I, my wife Diana and I, in 2009. It's an educational organization. We have one initiative right now, which is called Saturday Place. Saturday Place is a supplemental educational program for 3rd and 4th grade Chicago public school students who are performing at least a year below grade level. We work now exclusively with at-risk kids whose parents may not be able to afford the extra help or services they may need to catch up. So our goal is to get our students to see beyond their existing circumstances, believe in themselves, and we try to do that through inspiration, preparation, and discipline. And that's essentially what we do. You can check us out at R Davis Charities on Twitter, as well as at Saturday Place at www.saturdayplace.org. And you can get all the information that you need about the program, what we do. You can donate to the website directly on the website at www.saturdayplace.org. And you can also get more information as to whether you want to volunteer or not on the website as well.
All right, Rasheed, I know you had a event a few months back, You and a whole bunch of your teammates and whatnot were at the event. Do you have any events planned for the future that you'd like to tell us about?
Yes, we have an event that we're planning on doing. It's in the process right now, or in the works right now. It's going to be a bowling event, and we're planning on doing it. We don't have a venue just yet, but we're planning on doing it somewhere in downtown Chicago. And we're going to have Bears players and other local, celebrities come out, and you'll be able to, companies and individuals will be able to buy a lane and come bowl with your favorite Chicago Bear.
Hey, that sounds...
Or whoever else we're able to get out there to support.
Sounds good to me, Rasheed. I really appreciate your time, man. Is there anything else you'd like to plug on the air for our listeners?
I want everybody to check us out. Check me out at Rasheed Davis Charities. Tweet every once in a while, or all the time, I guess. Not always about football, but also check out at Saturday Place on Twitter as well.
All right, Rasheed, that sounds good. Thanks again for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Good luck this season, and take care, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.